Hello, and welcome to Megan's Social Media Marketing Show. I am so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about viral posts. I think this is a mindset that has permeated our psyche, and somewhere, even though that may be not what we tell other people, somewhere in the back of our brains, we're posting. We're just about to hit publish, and we hope and pray that this next post is the one that will go viral and will gain us millions of followers overnight. Well, I have talked to several people who've had viral posts, and just from listening to interviews and reading about people who've had that kind of growth on their platform, maybe they're an author who had an uber successful first book, that the stress and the burden that comes after that viral post can make it difficult to find your way going forward. So I am always a proponent of slow and steady growth, of building that sustainable community who are raving fans, who are there for you and for what you're equipped to provide them. Viral growth is abnormal. It's usually not something that you normally talked about. Maybe you had a wild hair and you had an opinion about a current event, you posted about it, and then people latched onto that and took it in another direction. And then you're left with the decision, how do I handle this? Do I go in that direction now because all these people have come to me for that thing? Do I need to talk about that thing now? Or should I keep going where I am and where I know my skill set and my knowledge is based in? Or do I follow this viral thing? And that can be stressful. You could also be left with dealing with a ton of backlash from your current community and this new community that you all of a sudden have. And it can be difficult. Then you're faced with some other issues. Now, going viral isn't always bad. It could be for good reasons. But as with anything, a burden and a blessing from something like that happening to you. So I thought it would be very interesting to share with you a clip from my friend Joy Vetterline. She was on episode 2 talking about how she got her first 1,000 followers on Instagram, but she also had this experience of having a viral post. And I'd love for you to hear from her words what she did as a result and the lessons that she learned from it. So without further ado, here is Joy.
Oh, okay.
You had an experience that many people hope and wish will happen on their accounts. One of your posts went viral. Can you tell that story?
Viral?
Well, I think it is.
Counts as viral. I don't know.
Abnormal growth.
For me, yes, abnormal growth. So I mentioned that one of the things I found successful was like quote graphics with a statement that is expressing something or articulating something that my audience might be feeling or thinking, but hasn't been able to articulate that well. And I wrote a post about a very controversial topic right in the middle of, it was the summer of 2020 when there was huge controversies around racism and the pandemic. And in my particular niche, there was a big controversy about whether churches should reopen and people should go back to sing, be allowed to sing in churches. And with my background in church, I wrote a post on it and took a stance that was not a conventional, typically Christian stance on this. And it was at first like a pretty normal post for me. You know, my crowd was like, yeah, this is like, you've said it exactly what I was thinking. Thank you so much. That's so right. But somewhere along the way, somebody got whiff of this post that was pretty controversial, and I was pretty like sassy about it and took on all these kinds of topics in there. It was I'm not sure I would phrase everything the same way in retrospect, but somehow it got shared, and somebody I remember seeing the post and I was so panicked that I deleted it, and I'm kicking myself now, but it was like, everybody go find this post and like speak some truth. And I was like, it was like a call to arms by someone with like a massive following. And I had like
Against your
30
post.
against my post.
Right.
Yes, it wasn't like, everybody go be a fan of this. It was like, this lady is like super wrong. Everybody needs to go tell her so. And I was getting like 30 new comments like a minute, it felt like. And they were all like horrible things. Like people were like calling me names and like telling me like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, go back to wherever, like this, you shouldn't, like, how dare you? And you should read your Bible, which is a really big slam in, the Christian world. Or haven't you ever read your Bible? And like, this is what you get when women teach, or whatever. All these kind of lovely, lovely things thrown at me by people who share my namesake. But it was really crazy, and I was really shaken at first because I didn't know what to do. And the first advice I saw was like, block and delete every comment. And so I kind of just like panicked and did that and started like blocking and deleting the really offensive comments. But then people were coming back and saying like, you just blocked me on my alternate account. I'm just going to keep coming back. And like, you blocked my wife's account, and like censorship and all this stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's not even any point. And then I kind of just like, you know what? Their words kind of speak for themselves. I'm just going to let them have their say so that they can like vent all they want on this post and it doesn't leak out into the rest of my feed. So I just kind of left it, and it took me a couple days. And then I was like, oh no, like I need to go engage in conversation, because there are a few people that are raising some good points that warrant some conversation. So I spent like, after a day of just like, what just happened? I went back through and sort of just like engaged in conversation. In retrospect, I wouldn't post something that controversial unless I knew I had bandwidth to like engage right away. But I ended up getting like over 600 comments, a ton of likes though as well, because what was funny is that people continued to share this and say, man, this lady is like so off base. But then people that followed them would actually agree with me. And I got like 100 followers out of the whole thing, and a ton of new like email subscribers. And it was great for my platform. So it kind of had the opposite effect. But man, it was a really interesting experience, because I felt it like confirmed my resolve that I was doing the right thing, and that I was speaking to the right person, because I had touched on something that had brought this sort of like really awful wrath. And I realized just how much my reader is going through, because this is exactly what they're facing. And I was like, you know what, if I can like battle this for you, I'm absolutely willing to, because like nobody should talk to anybody like this, especially in churches, and especially like in the names of being Christians. Like, this is unacceptable. And I am now going to take an even stronger stand. And I felt like it was a really important moment for me to define myself and my voice and my brand. And since then, it's just like continued to be like, nope, this is what I do. And yeah, if something warrants speaking out, I'll speak out for that. And yeah, it was really interesting. And now I'm just kind of glad that it happened, because I learned so much through it. And yeah.
And it is viral posts are one of those things that I think everybody, maybe not everybody, but most, this could be the one, like they're hitting publish.
People want to go viral for good things.
Right.
I don't know that everybody, some people probably. We could get into your Enneagram types and talk about which people are like, no, bring it on. Like, come fight me.
Right.
And other people are like, is there any chance people might fight me, because I'm not going to take that on? Right.
But it doesn't happen very often. So it's very interesting to hear your perspective and how it all played out. But I mean, I think everybody wishes for viral posts in the good way. Like you're saying, like, this is going to take off. However, viral means abnormal growth. Like, we don't want a virus. Like, it's not, growth is supposed to be
Viruses,
slow and steady.
yeah, we're kind of, it's like too soon to talk about growth like a
Yeah,
virus.
like if there's anything we've learned from 2020, it's that viruses
Yeah,
are bad, right?
they're bad. We don't like viruses. No.
Oh my God. Oh, so slow and steady. It's a good thing.
Steady. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, Joy,
Yeah.
for doing
Thank you for
this,
asking me.
for sharing your thoughts and how you grew, which I would say was quickly, and you found your people, which is
Yeah.
hard to do. A lot of people spend years trying to figure that out. So
Yeah.
I am always there in your corner, cheering you on, being your cheerleader. For those of us, or for those watching and listening who do not know you, where can they find you?
Yeah. So Joy Vetterline is a pretty unique name, so I was able to snag it everywhere. So you can find me on Instagram at Joy Vetterline. That's an Lein at the end there. And then same with my website, joyvetterline.com. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter technically, but not quite as much as Instagram. That'll be, I'll talk to you offline about getting going on the rest of those.
Okay. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay. Thanks so much, Joy.
Yeah, you're the best. Thanks for doing this for all of us, trying to grow.